Welcome back to North of the Broad. I'm your host, Karen Wyman, coming to you from higher ground in Beaufort. I'm joined this afternoon by Paul Sommerville from the Beaufort County Council. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Karen. It's good to be here.
Excellent to have you here. There's a lot going on in Beaufort County, and we've just got about 5 minutes to talk about all of it. But
that won't do.
That won't do, I know.
No, that won't do.
I'm sure one of the things that viewers are interested in is, where do we stand as a county with the cleanup from Hurricane Matthew? Because certainly you can drive from here to Fripp Island or here to Hilton Head and still see so much that needs to be done.
Yeah, a lot of what you see is on private property, obviously, and the county is not going onto private property. We're picking up debris from the main thoroughfares and even the private roads, but it has to be on the right-of-ways. And we've done 2 million cubic yards or something like that, and another 2.5, 3 million in Hilton Head. So we've picked up a lot of debris so far.
Just a question, and out of curiosity, where does all this debris go? Is there?
Well, that's a good question. We have 4 staging areas, 2 in the south and 2 in the north. And if you go by any one of them, you'll see the largest mountain of sawdust that you've ever seen in your entire life.
I was going to say, do they make mulch or sawdust? I mean, is there some
they're grinding it up as fast as they can, and in some cases they're burning it depending on where it is and what the proximity to houses and that sort of thing is.
Of course, but obviously safety being always a concern.
Yeah, I mean, we have to get the volume down, as my grandfather used to say, some kind of a how. And that some kind of a how is grinding it up, and beyond that is burning it wherever we can. So there's a lot of what they call curtain burning.
Got it. Understand. So yeah, you answered a burning question that I've had for a long time. Where does all this stuff go, and how do we get rid of it in a responsible way?
Well, I have to tell you that if we took it somewhere, it would overwhelm any landfill within 100 miles of here. So it has to be reduced in volume.
Before it can.
By sawdust and burning, you're down to 1 7/7 or 1/8 or something like that. So that it becomes, it's still a lot of debris. It just becomes more manageable.
Obviously, yep. So along the same lines, how did we fare as a county when it comes to FEMA and reimbursement for all of these storm-related expenses?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. If we haven't gotten anything from anybody yet.
Yeah, so we're still waiting.
Right, we're still waiting.
The check is in the mail?
Well, we're not quite to that point yet, but we're getting there. This is a federal government we're dealing with, and there's a lot of steps and hoops that you have to jump through to get to the point where the check actually is in the mail. But we are confident that we are going to get between 75 and 80% of the out-of-pocket costs for the county to remove this debris, and that includes marine debris. And we're late in the game for the marine debris because we didn't have the authority to go pick it up. Yep. And so we've been chomping at the bit. We finally got an Attorney General's opinion that says we do have the right to get it. So now we have a contractor, and we'll be picking up marine debris. So those folks who have docks floating around in their backyard and abandoned boats and that sort of thing, we're able to now.
Again, another question that people here in Beaufort, Ladies Island is an example of probably been asking for months and months and months. When are we going to see that stuff get hauled away?
Well, within the next 30 days, you should see a lot of it or most of it gone. What they had to do is do an aerial survey, what's visible from above, use drones for that, and then we'd use sonar to
see what's underneath?
Yeah, because a lot of it is you can't see. You don't see it until your boat hits it.
That's right, and that's a pretty dangerous situation for any boater or anybody out on the water at all.
So they've been dragging sonar. We've been dragging sonar around the county for the last several weeks, and that's a lot of creeks and of course, a lot of them you can only access at high tide. So,
and of course, we're looking at so many resources that need to be covered, where you're talking about personnel with specific skill levels, heavy equipment, sonar, boats, as you know, and drones. So much to be done there. Before we wrap things up, let's talk just a little bit about water quality. Obviously, that's something that's important to everybody and anybody, but a coastal town, one of the things that's important to all of us for a significant reason.
Well, of course, the key contributor to water quality is stormwater runoff. That's where the problem lies. Whatever is on the ground gets washed into if we're not careful, if we don't prepare the stormwater properly, it goes into the rivers and creeks and streams as pollution. It can contain everything from fertilizer to fecal coliform and everything in between. So We have our program in stormwater management has been evolving for the last few years, but I think we've reached the pinnacle now. We know exactly what we're doing. We have a staff, we have a budget, an adequate budget. We've had a staff and a budget before.
But not adequate.
It's never adequate, and so we have a lot of dedicated dollars. We've raised the stormwater fee this year, and to our citizens' credit, there wasn't a great outcry over it. I think most of them understand.
I think most of us understand. You have to put your money where your mouth is. If you want that water, you're going to have to pay a little bit to ensure that.
Exactly. So, and of course, that now we're deeply into what's called the MS4 program, and that's just a federal term for our water quality program. And we're also working on drainage, which is a huge part of it, because a lot of people have standing water here, standing water there. Of course, that contributes to the mosquito problem also, which we're not here to talk about today, but nevertheless.
Well, we've come to the end of our time, and we so appreciate you being a guest today on North of the Broad.
Well, thank
We'd
you.
love to have you back. I'm sure there's lots more to fill our viewers in on, whether it's the water, the continuation of the hurricane cleanup, of course the water, and we'll get to the infrastructure hopefully the next time you're a guest.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Karen.
Excellent.
All right.
And that wraps up this edition of North of the Broad.